Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Hello everyone. I'm really pleased to join this distinguished panel, and I wish I was able to attend physically. It's a bit different to present to respected audience, ladies and gentlemen, from presenting in front of a screen. It's really different. Now, the subject of today is energy transition, and it's a very hot subject that you would hear about, see it discussed in almost most of the events. These events are being associated with energy, technologies, governments, environment, societies, and even our lives. Now, I would like to share with you some of my own reflections and lessons learned, hoping they give you some insights to find new horizons in the energy transition. Well, I chose the title Human-Centric Future, believing that most of the transitions, transformations, and even evolutions should have one overriding objective, and that is to serve humanity. Well, societies have gone through several transitions or evolutions. I don't intend to discuss every stage, but to indicate that with every transition, people also change and go through transitions themselves. They change their style of living, traveling, and exchange. Looking at the initial evolutions of societies, be it hunting, agrarian, and agriculture, and industrial, it was more of called the knowledge-based economy, where people could basically communicate, travel, and commute more easily to local areas, not really extended. While in a knowledge-based economy that's enabled by technology, people could travel virtually almost everywhere. And one of the things that proved this, I'm giving you this presentation remotely. And now they're moving to even super intelligence, where people could really communicate, travel in a global sense, where borders are basically eliminated when it comes to it, using the privileged by the capabilities of technologies, communication, and even transportation. They easily can travel, they easily can communicate with others around the world at any time. So what used to be individual results and innovation in a local zone on Earth can be now more of collective innovation, where people could basically think together while they're not really physically together. Now, evolutions, transitions, or transformation, they're more of associated with almost every aspects of our life, including technologies. And you've seen the vast transformation and advancements in technology. Some people call them revolutions. Some people would call them more of natural progression and advancements in various aspects of associated with technologies or industries. And the industrial arena, you would hear about industrial revolutions, the first and the second and the third, and now you hear more about Industrial Revolution 4.0. And even regulations which are associated with technologies and utilization of technologies and their impact on society and environment and even industries. But one of the transitions happened to us, just like we mentioned, societies. And the next slide, I'll be talking more about the transitions that I've gone through in my life because I know more about that. So in 1987, when I graduated from high school, well, I wanted to be a dentist, but reality and expectation are a bit different. And the reality is I went to 𝐾FUPM, and that's one of the best universities. And I believe, well, I'm still in love with the university. So I went through chemical engineering, graduated in '92, but did not really go through chemical engineering business. So at work, I became more of a petroleum engineer, working in reservoir management at the beginning, then going through all the disciplines of petroleum engineering, including the production engineering, simulation, which is reservoir engineering, and facilities, drilling and workover. And then I decided to take a master's degree in petroleum engineering in the same university. And it was more of a successful, let's say, journey, a very quick one. And it was part-time while in job. Well, during that stage, the concept of digital oil fields or intelligent fields in the way we call it was more of introduced at early 2000, and I became so interested in that arena that I read a lot about it. I got involved in it, and I was so lucky to work in one of the first fields that is called intelligent oil field, with all the gadgets you would think of, be it subsurface technologies, surface technologies, processes and workflows. And at the beginning of any project, you would be more of involved in almost all the aspects of it. It's be it in the design stage, the implementation. So you would not only work in the office, you will visit fields, you will see completions, you would it would be more of a hands-on, and that's part of the best experiences you would live in if you get your hands dirty in business, basically, in whatever you're doing, be it related to energy or any other aspects of life. So I know a lot about my own accomplishments, and I'm presenting there from 2009 till today some of the accomplishments, and I'm sure there are more of them in your buckets as well. I mean, everybody know more about their accomplishments. I'm bringing them here not really to highlight what I accomplished, but I'm bringing them here to highlight one thing. If I can accomplish these, and if somebody thinks they're really good accomplishments, then definitely every one of you can accomplish even more. At least you could see how I accomplished it. I'm in front of you, and you know what I have. I have the same attributes that you have, and maybe you have even more. But definitely, whatever is accomplished here, you see, can be accomplished and even more. Well, and when it comes to all these accomplished, most of them are related to the energy industry or petroleum engineering, innovation, and digital oil fields. But one of the accomplishment that I'm really proud of is not really related to anything relevant to the petroleum industry. It's one book that's called Any Version of History is Just a Story. And it tells you that basically there could be multiple versions of any story, including the story that I'm sharing with you now. And definitely it can be written in a different way. And it basically calls for tolerance. It calls for exploring other venues. It calls for making sure that, making sure that the story you hear is right. Be it a story, or be it an experiment, or be it a tool that you would like to test in the field. Make sure you know all its capabilities, its limitations, its background from various aspects, just to get the maximum knowledge about it. And definitely that's not the full knowledge about it. Now, among the lesson learned, and this is what I intend basically to focus on and to make sure that at least I give you some insights, is doing nothing at all versus small consistent efforts. And that's basically an emphasis on continuity. So if you start in any project or initiative, let's make sure that continuity is part of it. And that's a message not only for personal projects, it's even for organizational projects, governmental projects, and any projects around the world. So continuity is really essential. Continuity is basically related and associated with more of not the human aspect, because we live. So, but before we leave, we need to more of die empty. And if some of you read the book Die Empty, don't leave things in your mind, share the knowledge and experience, and make sure that all the treasure that you have is left behind for someone to get the maximum value of. So that's part of continuity. Now, there is one attribute that everybody needs to really consider as a virtue, and that's patience. And I'm bringing here cartoon, but it tells you just a message and shows more of a patience, while more of taking care of a plant. And we have a saying in Arabic, which can be translated, they planted seeds and we harvested, and we plant seed for our descendants to harvest. So just plant seeds and definitely take care of them while you can, and be continuous in your care, and somebody else will take over, and hopefully it's a tree that can be harvested. Then one last thing that is technical. Now, when it comes to the energy transition, and there've been several discussions about should we continue with the petroleum engineering? Should petroleum engineering continue the way it is? Should we transform or go through transition just to make sure that petroleum engineering accommodate and get into a transition mode to serve basically the current business environment? And these are polls. Well, the question, would you really encourage or consider pursuing a petroleum engineering degree? And the first one is by Nathan Meehan, 2016 SPE president. And if you see here, 71% saying no. While the other one is conducted by myself, and it's available in LinkedIn, it's about 60% that they're saying no. That's not an indication of the importance or of petroleum engineering or not. It does not. It indicates basically that we need to maybe go through a transformation of whatever we have as contents of a program in petroleum engineering. That's a message. So everything needs to go and evolve as things change. Now, among the tips for any transition, be it in technical aspects of personal life, and I'm presenting here myself and let's say, presented my accomplishments. Same ingredients don't yield similar results. And the picture here at least indicates what the ingredients are, and definitely the results can be really, really different. Now, in a personal experience, technical experience, just like we said, even if you have similar ingredients, well, expect different results if they're implemented in a different way or a different place. Now, there isn't a one size fits all. So all I'm presenting, and maybe our esteemed panelists, we're presenting to you experiences that are personal, and definitely everyone has his or her own uniqueness when it comes to their understanding, their knowledge, their experience, their ambition, and there is no one size fits all because of the numerous variables associated with almost everyone and every change. And There is a statement here, more of a generic statement and application of technology. There is no one size fits all. It has to be a fit for purpose. So knowing your ambition, knowing your objective, knowing your plan, and all the capabilities that you have to establish some sort of purpose, and it has to be clear within your mind. And everything you plan for and prepare for has to be fit for purpose. So it's not really a waste. And people need to know their capabilities and also limitations, and be always thankful. And whatever you know or we knew earlier, maybe we know a little bit more. And now if we go back, we could do it different way, but there's no regret. Through the experience, you gained knowledge and wisdom that you did not have at the first stage. So I'm sure when you decide to do the right thing, you've done the right thing at every time. And that's more of a habit. Well, keep in mind your short-term objectives and long-term objectives, and there has to be more of a balance in life. And if you talk about the wheel of life, then this wheel needs different adjustment, just like a wheel of a car. At every stage or at every tire, basically, you need to do some sort of an alignment and adjustments at every stage of our life. When we were 20s, we were strong. We could do different things than from whatever we can do at our 40s and 50s and later. Now, what are really the enablers of transitions? And over here, I'm presenting basically 4 enablers, and that's my own opinion. They're technologies, the business environment, and the optimization processes and people. The same thing can be related to even our personal life. And when it comes to technology, they're really expensive. Business environment, be it a university, be it a school, be it a workshop, or be it a business environment. Optimization processes, there are business processes, but there are even processes within our life. And people, it's us. And if you look at the spheres to the right side, the size of the sphere is a representation of the additional investment that you will basically do for that transition. But if you look at it from a different perspective, you would see where the value comes from. And this is the x-axis where the value, it shows value. People, your mind, your thinking style, your positivity is a major contributor to the value. In fact, the highest value can come out of people, their mindsets, and how they come up with technologies, or what technologies they buy, use, and how they use them, how they change their environment, be it the internal and the external environment, focusing on the circle of influence rather than a circle of concerns. And optimization processes, definitely with time, we learn more about ourselves and more about the environment and technologies. And definitely we come up with processes that can introduce more value to us or to the entity that we work for. Now, we live now in a borderless world, and we mentioned that, and the blessing is from technologies. They've given us the capabilities, and it's in the cyberspace where you see people almost everywhere, including I mean, this is positive and negative. I mean, you see contributors to the programming field, you see hackers. Education and knowledge, again, it's the same thing. It's and during COVID time, there was more of a wave in using, you know, the online education. So again, it's a borderless thing. You could learn almost anything you would like from lessons available on YouTube and other channels. Climate is borderless. Health, definitely with COVID, it seems to be that be it a pandemic or even a vaccine can be almost everywhere now. And economy, economy of one country that has an influence definitely impacts the rest of the world. It's more of a chain reaction, and definitely energy transition. And they're all associated with each other anyway. I'm emphasizing the energy transition as it relates to our subject of today. And I wanted to share with you more of one aspects of things that's related to energy. If you look at this map, it's the world at night, and you will see where the places that are full of light at night, be it from the east to the west, and from, let's say, East Japan, you see it really illuminated. The States in the middle, you see Europe, Middle East, and India. Most of the rest of the world is almost dark, and it reflects basically in many things. Definitely, it reflects in the infrastructure and availability of power. Now, people have different views about energy transition and their contribution to it. So we asked the question here, would you be willing to pay double what you're paying for quicker and cleaner energy transition? And if you see no, it's 79%. That's an indication and a feedback from people. I mean, there are 76 votes, but again, this can be also, resurveyed. But definitely people would like to have their concerns even taken into consideration by those who have control over energy and the prices of energy, or maybe the people who introduce technologies to make sure that energy is not only efficient and clean, but also affordable. Now, any change comes at cost. This is the lesson learned of this. So what would be the cost and how it's related to human? Let's see other aspects of a world map. Distribution of world's natural resources demonstrated as GDP, percentage of GDP, and the darker is the basically is the areas that have more resources. And if you look at them and remember the map, the previous map, the world at night, you would see the lighter colors, be it in the east and the west. They're the ones with almost minimum natural resources. So the places that have the less infrastructure that basically produces electricity, power, they're the places that have more natural resources. Now, it's a bit not expected, well, it's correlated, it seems to be. Well, now the distribution of world's wealth per adult, and that's just to give you some insights. If you look at the green, basically countries on the map, they're the countries that have basically the highest wealth per adult. And again, you go to, one would expect those places that have the highest or the wealthiest places with natural resources, they would be the world's wealthiest, countries per adult, but it's not. It's basically those places that have or showed in the world map that are lightened at night. Now, what's in it for us? I mean, as far as an idea, more of a lesson learned, transformation of wealth, the places that have natural resources, more of a bar of iron, which cost $5. If you transform this, more of a transition, to horseshoes, it's $12, but to needles, it's the same bar of iron. It's $3,500. But if you go to a balance springs and expensive watches, then it's $300,000. That gives you an insight of basically how where the value comes from. It comes from transformation of raw material So natural resources by themselves may produce money, and you have an income because you have those natural resources, but definitely if you transform them to more expensive things, just like balance brings from the iron bar, the story is completely different. Now, in today's discussions, most of the discussion you would hear about oil. So if you process it to more of equivalent to balance brings, you will talk about data, raw data. If you convert it ultimately to wisdom that changes and creates value, these are basically the basics. And over here, I'm showing only a principle, which you may relate to any raw material, to things that have been transformed into a better thing. Now, investment of education, and this is very relevant to the previous maps, and human development. You see most of the places that are full of light at night, they have infrastructure. They don't have to have natural resources. They focus at education and development. If you see here, again, is to the east, Japan, the States, Europe, Middle East, Australia, and Russia. Now, what exactly we are doing there? And it's basically sharing knowledge, educating people, transforming the way they think, and transitioning raw material basically from cheaper item to more expensive item. But over here, I believe that knowledge share is knowledge multiplied. It's just to indicate if you have an apple and I have an orange, then we just exchange items. So you will have the orange, I will have an apple. But if you have a laptop and you're selling it and I have money, we exchange. You have the money and I have the laptop. I just bought it. But if you have an idea and I have money, I can buy the idea, but you have the idea and you have the money. And let's assume that this idea is more of an IP or something that's worth the money. Now, if you have an idea and I have a different idea, and if we exchange, so both of us have two ideas. And this is the message out of knowledge share is knowledge multiplied. And technology today, definitely we can share and exchange many ideas, not A and B, but there are many ideas. Now, over here, talking about energy, the trend is very clear, and this is a 200 years trend, and it shows that the world needs more energy. And this energy comes out of resources. This comes out of technology utilization, but it comes out of knowledge as well, because knowledge and your expertise and the exchange of these expertise would definitely lead us to not only produce more efficiently, safely, cheaper, and produce even more cleaner energy and sustainable energy, regardless of the resources, be it natural resources, oil and gas, and alternative energy resources, and others. You don't know what the future holds. We need more energy, but we need brains to make sure that whatever energy comes is cleaner energy, sustainable energy, and to have it human-centric, more affordable energy. Now, there isn't one size fits all, just like we indicated. Countries are different. You've seen it in the maps, basically, be it the world at night, be it the natural resources, be it the education part of it and the focus of it, be it even the GDP per capita. So to be fair, everybody has to climb the tree. It's not really right, because everybody, if it's a race, it's not everybody in its own stage and race. So the objective are basically many. It's a cleaner energy, honor nature, use appropriate technologies. Maybe we need to come up with new business models that for every single place and environment. Definitely new policies, and one of the most important things is collaboration. And if we're talking about global thing, then it has to be really global. Now, one main aspect that you would and everybody needs to think of is there is no replacement for fundamentals. And if you look at it there, that's more of a process of making a decision and implementation on any strategy. So we usually start with data acquisition, we do the analysis and decision, and then implementation based on our knowledge. And with today's technologies, we're capitalize on systems, computers, and power, and artificial intelligence, and others. But definitely, that will not work if we're really disconnected. So fundamentals are really, really crucial and very important to know. It's and what that's basically a really important thing that everybody needs to consider. Now, the future belongs to, and this is more of a short video that I would like to share with you. It shows what we need as personal attributes. And I leave you with the video over here where basically different people with different mindsets come, and they have their current status, and they see where they need to be in the future. And the pessimists come and thinks it's really hard, it's not doable. Pragmatic person comes and calculates all the variables, and it seems to be really hard. So he stays with the pessimistic guy. So what we need to basically to have is power and vision, where they can be in one person or multiple individuals. They said they coordinate, they formulate a plan, they move forward. And when they move, they don't really move by themselves. They create a path, and they're basically the entrepreneurs, the courageous individuals, those who see the future and create ways to move to it. And when they move, everybody moves. But again, personality, it seems to be hard to change. And the pessimistic guy and pragmatic guy, well, thinks it wasn't even possible. But that's a message. So one last poll here. What is the most important enabler for transitions? And as you've seen from the cartoon, seems to be that leadership. And leadership is not really a position. It's more of a mindset. Everyone can be a leader at their capacity. And it's more of a mindset, just like stated. Definitely other things could help the leader to execute what they have. Leaders would have challenges, so life is not empty of challenges, but they need to keep leading, just like you've seen in the cartoon. And they would be creating plans and execution plans that fits that challenge or the other. Now, one last message, and over here is the story of the 6 blind men touching an elephant. So everybody sees a different thing or describe what they touch differently, in a different way. And this is based on the limited knowledge they have about what they experience. So for us to see the whole story, and I go back, even I refer to the message of the book. It's basically, it's a global system, and it needs a global eye to be able to serve humanity. We need a global eye. Thank you very much.